What's up, everybody? These buffs at first glance might not seem that great. You might be wondering, where's the grass typing? Why is it based at total nerfed? Why is this ability not that great? So Serene Grace is incredible on Florges specifically because of Revelation Dance, which is now a 50%. Well, it's a widely distributed move that a lot of dancing type Pokemon have, and Florges is said to dance in a lot of its Pokedex entries. And with Serene Grace, that is a 100% chance to give you special attack boost, which is essentially Torch Song from, like Skeletor's signature moves, basically that, but it's 90 base power as well. So that's great on all kinds of Pokemon. And it also has a usable speed tier, 75, so you can slap on a Choice Scarf for certain boss fights and just spam Revelation Dance. That's why Serene Grace is awesome. Not to mention Seed Flare, despite not being Stab, which I will address in a second. I know a lot of people wanted Fairy Grass Florges, but ultimately, it's actually kind of worse. Not to mention, I noticed I had a lot of Fairy Grass types and not that many Pure Fairy types. So I think it's kind of funny to keep Florges Pure Fairy because I know a lot of people. I mean, it should be Grass, like realistically speaking. You can try to justify it or cope however you want. Like people will, oh, it's controlling the flowers. Come on, dude. It doesn't matter. It should still be grass type. But from a balancing point of view, it's actually happier as a pure fairy type because there's a lot of other fairy grass types, especially like Lilligant and stuff, which would kind of clash too much with Florges. Comfey will also be remaining a pure fairy type and will be having different abilities as well. Both of them will be having abilities related to grassy terrain, though, with Florges having grassy guard, which is awesome. So 78, 78, 154 bulk is incredible with grassy guard up. You have terrain. Grassy terrain is a TM, so you can set it up yourself. You can set it up with an ally, and then parting shot, you turn your Volt Switch into your Florges, whatever you want to do. And you can use Terrain Extender, you can use Leech Seed, you can get all that reliable healing, residual healing, from the Leech Seed and Big Root if you want, the buffed Big Root, which doubles your healing. You can use Draining Kiss or Mega Drain or all types of crazy stuff that will give you a lot of HP. Giga Drain. Floral Healing will heal you by 2/3 under Grassy Guard, which is awesome, or Grassy Terrain, rather. That's super sick. So both of your abilities are great. You do have access to the Infinite Usability Capsule, so you can run a bulkier Grassy Guard Florges under Grassy Terrain, and you can become kind of like a pseudo-grass type. You also take half damage from Earthquake, which is pretty great. But 78 base defense with +1 from Grassy Guard is huge. I will do the math really quickly, but it's pretty damn high. With a neutral defense nature at +1, let me just... you will hit 382 defense with max investment, and that's great. That's with the neutral defense nature. So, like, you're definitely at least base 130-ish equivalent for your defense, and then of course your special defense is already very high. You have a very good HP stat that's probably slightly above average. It'll definitely get the job done. And like I said, Serene Grace is awesome with that Revelation Dance at 47. As for earlier in the game, you still have a lot of use out of Serene Grace. For example, Dazzling Gleam is like baby Revelation Dance. It's 80 base power and has a 25% chance to get special attacks. So with Serene Grace, that's a 50% chance. Weather Ball will always drop special defense with Serene Grace. Seed Flare will always drop special defense by 2 with Serene Grace. And you have a bunch of other little moves like Psychic, Shadow Ball, Aura Sphere, and Earth Power, which have high chances to drop Spadef with Serene Grace as well. So those are all awesome. You also have great coverage. Like I said, you got those Aura Spheres and Earth Powers, and also Mystical Fire since they're not a grass type. I figured it kind of fits, obviously, because it fits a fairy type, and it's just all great coverage. You also have really good Omni boosting options and boosting options in general. So you have Blossom Dance very late in the game at 65, which gives you +2 speed and +1 special attack and attack as well, but that's not relevant in this case. Speaking of, by the way, yeah, the base stat total, I didn't address that yet, but 550 is pretty standard for a lot of 3-stage Pokemon in this hack, and I didn't want to break that convention, and I didn't want them to be a semi-pseudo either. I didn't think it fit too well. I would have had to like beef up the Spadef even more because I don't see over 120 for the special attack, and the speed is like perfect, HP is perfect. I don't see over 78 for defense either. So it was kind of an awkward spot to make it a semi-pseudo. So I opted to just keep it as a regular Pokemon. And the base stat total is technically decreased by 4, but obviously if you have a brain, you'll realize that it's not how that works because of the -13 attack there. So yeah. Super awesome though. It's just a really strong, bulky, pure fairy type. It can be bulky or it can be fast, offensive with Blossom Dance or Agility or Revelation Dance, Choice Scarf, all types of great things you can run for certain boss fights. There's a couple other really cool things I want to cover, but in general, that's the gist of it. It's just a nice, tanky Pokemon. You got that Grassy Guard. You got like Floral Guard, which gives you +1 defenses. You got Heart Swap, which is great for totems. It's priority now. Aromatic Mist is great for debuffing the opponent. Charm and Befriend are great for like a Call Island debuffing the opponent. Sweet Scent as well. All the Sweet Scent is literally just -1 special stats, while Aromatic Mist is the same thing, but -2. Charm Befriend are really good. You got all types of great stuff. Healing Wish if you want, but probably not the best in game. You could wish past your ally if you really needed it, but I would rather run Floral Healing, or if I have to delete it, you always have Synthesis via Tutor to reteach. So you have reteachable healing, which is a really nice thing for Florges. You also, like I said, so you have Omni boosting moves and other boosting options. So you have, like I said, Blossom Dance, but also Z Camouflage is awesome. That will change your type to match the terrain. So under Grassy Guard, you become a pure grass type, or if you're running electric terrain or psychic terrain with a Psychic Surge teammate or an electric terrain TM user on your team, and you parting shot or volt switch into your Florges, then you can use Z Camouflage, get +1 speed, +1 special attack, +1 defense, +1 speed F, so you become super fast, super strong, and super tanky. And then you get that pure electric typing, and you can use like Serene Grace Revelation Dance, which would be really awesome as an electric type. And you can do that under psychic terrain as well. So Revelation Dance is definitely a staple for Serene Grace. And in general, it's good on Grassy Guard sets too, because outside of Serene Grace, it's still a 50% chance to give you a special attack boost. So that's definitely going to be a staple move. You have other like stronger fairy options as well. Moonblast is 10 points stronger than Revelation Dance and has a 60% chance to have special attack. Dazzling Gleam I already covered is nice, but you would think that Revelation Dance strictly outclasses it. So that's just for earlier in the game because it's a very early TM. Yeah, Flare Cannon and Eternal Beam are two very strong moves. Flare Cannon dropping a special attack by 2. Eternal Beam dealing recoil damage, which is not the end of the world if you're running Grassy Guard, for example. So you can heal up a little bit. But, I mean, you'd rather just run Revelation Dance, but it's just there for the flavor and if you need the power boost or something. The Tom Pass is also pretty cool. That is negative priority now, so it's not nearly as overpowered as it used to be with all of these Omni Boost moves flying around. Not to mention, in general, there's a lot of anti-setup stuff put into place in this hack, so you can't just click setup button and win the game. You have to be smart with when you click it, when, how you set up, what you set up against, and all that kind of stuff. Also, back on the Fairy Grass typing, it would be weak to Bug now because Fairy no longer resists Bug, so it's not that good of a defensive typing at all. It does have good resistances, so I'm not like completely shitting on it. It's a good typing, but I don't know. Florges would rather be pure Fairy. I just think it's better for Florges, and it's also more unique because I noticed like in my notes I had way too many pure Fairy Grasses and like only 3 pure Fairy types, and that just didn't feel right. Maybe 4, I forget. And it was like Sylveon, Aromatisse, Slurpuff, and then like maybe 1 more that I'm forgetting. Comfey, I think, which is like not that many considering how many fairy types there are now. So yeah, in general, great Pokemon, great coverage, great support moves, great offensive moves, two great abilities, great stats. It's just a really solid Pokemon overall. Very much worth using. Magic Leaf is also pretty cool. It gives you +1 special defense. Disarming Voice drops the attacking stats by 2. So you got all cool little stuff there. Pixie Dust for priority. Leech Seed is great. Really just depends on, I would say, depending on your specific playstyle, your other teammates, the point in the game at which you're adding it, your EVs, IVs, sorry, not EVs, you can customize those, but your IVs and nature, all of that will play into what type of set you'll run on your Florges. And of course, you can always just switch between the two with all of these TMs and tutors and ability capsules and all that crazy stuff. So yeah, thanks so much for listening, everybody. Hopefully you found this video informative and entertaining and all that stuff. Make sure you leave a like, make sure you drop a comment down below if you listen this far into the video, and I appreciate you for listening. Peace.